I think we're kind of like in a bit of an expanding wedge pattern here, of which we've hit the top of it. So therefore, we may not have any more momentum left in this move. That said, I can't see us coming all the way back down here either, because overall we're in an uptrend at this point. In fact, we're in a bit of a channel that's formed. So this may range a bit down until we get into sort of closer to this trend line, I'd say, or this area here of consolidation. So for example, where's my rectangle? This area of consolidation before we get a push up. Okay, so what's the next candle going to be from here? I also note that we're probably could be potentially stalling up here as well. So we may not get down here as quickly as I think. We might actually get stuck here and then probably try and go higher before we probably fail and get back down to the other end of this range, this channel that's going up, should I say. So, okay, with these two candles in mind, what am I thinking? I'm thinking, okay, what time of day are we at here? We're at 10 o'clock in the morning on a 4-hour chart. So the 10 o'clock candle's finished. So we're kind of at the end of Asia for me. And Asia is usually just a bit of a range. So I would say we're probably going to try and test the bottom of this range. And then maybe we don't get down this far. In fact, maybe we don't get down this far. I'd say we're going to get down to here. And then probably have a crack up into here somewhere. I'm not too sure where. We'd have to go to a different time frame, but we're not. So that's where I'm going to leave it at for my guess. JJ, do you want to take over and tell me your thoughts on the whole matter?
Sure. Okay, first let me start with, I'm just going to zoom out. Yeah. And just take a look at the bigger picture. We can see we're in pretty choppy conditions, right? Okay, but we're still heading up overall. Okay, what are we missing here? And what's your your new trader or your the typical retail sort of mindset is they look at the chart, they go, okay, right, what have we got here? We've got for your kind of like horizontal traders, I suppose. I need to change the color here. Yeah. So they're my colors. We don't get confused. We don't get confused. Yeah. You say, all right, we've got a breakout candle here, right? This big ball. It's a breakout candle. So the mindset is buy. Yeah. Oh, overall, I see it a little bit like you, but let me draw my line. And I'm being a bit crude here because I do use a format for trading, for drawing trend lines. I say, okay, well, all right, I'm definitely in an up channel. We can see that. Okay. What I think the average trader might miss now is they say, okay, we'll break out. Well, we're going to break out. We'll buy. Okay. I don't see it that way. I see this big candle as weakness to the upside, strength. I see this as exhaustion, especially when the market comes back and closes inside the range or the level. So that is more of a strength to the downside. So even if we do go up a bit, I don't think we're likely to, then I believe we're more likely to do this, and target back to the other side, and potentially beyond, but definitely back to the other side, right? I say definitely. We don't know what's going to happen. We're just talking about probabilities, okay? So I'm seeing this as a false break to the upside, and therefore a move to the downside back towards the other side of this range. That's how I see it.
And what about like for the next bar? So I'm guessing it's not going to go that far, or is it the next candle? So that's your overall thought pattern. What do you think the next candle could do? You might need to zoom in if you want to.
When you say do you think it's going?
Well, so all I've looked at is the next candle. What would be the next candle's likely
It's likely to be a bear. It's definitely
likely to be a bear. Okay.
It's likely
So
to
if
be
you
a
had to,
bear. Yeah, it's likely
okay.
to be.
So do you want to draw something like what I've got there, or do you like just
Yeah, I mean, what you got is fair. Okay, is definitely a scenario. Okay, we don't know exactly what the next candle is going to be, but based on what I'm looking at, I would expect the next candle to be bear, and at least get to here or possibly further.
okay. So what I'd do here is a couple of things. I mean, which is just inadvertent. Um, so just leave my one where it is, so that
Yeah,
people can kind of go, okay, well that's where he had it. For your one, geez. So we're starting from there. So you think it's going to be a straight bear, no wick, perhaps a wick? If there was a wick, would you put a wick in? Is my question.
would I put a wick in? What do you mean at the top?
Well, so this is essentially the wick, and that's the body and the end wick. So like an open, low, high. That's kind of what I've drawn. Does that make
Right.
sense? So
Yeah.
for you just drawing that to there, you're saying there is no upper wick. I'm just expecting it to go straight. It's going to just
Yeah,
shoot short.
but
I mean, yeah, there might be a wick, but I mean, you're going, well, I don't
I think
expect there to be much of a
I
wick.
think that's if there's a wick, there ain't going to be much of one, in my opinion. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you did think there was a wick, though, this is what I'd expect you to draw. Something like, just so you know, for when we do it, something like that, right? So you're going, well, okay, well, I expect there to be some kind of wick on that candle, and then it will go down here. But if you're saying, no, I don't think there'll be any wick, then yeah, that's fair enough. Let's just go, I don't think there'll be any wick. I just think it's going to go straight down here.
Well, the
And
truth is,
if we,
most candles have a wick of some sort.
yeah,
So
yeah. So then, therefore, you normally would put a wick on. So if you're going to put a wick on, I'm guessing you'd put a wick onto the right. You might go, there might be a little wick on that one. We don't know, right? We're just going to see. This is just lessons, and they've already been taught the lesson, right? Missing the breakout. Okay, so then we go, right, let's have a look at what actually happened. We've got no idea. JJ absolutely nailed it. Right, so there we go. So that's like absolute gold. In fact, your first idea was perfect.
my first idea.
Your first idea was like you had a big line down here. Well, I expect it to go down here. That was your first line.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, that just highlights how easy it is for a retail trader.
Yeah.
To miss something that's important. After all, trading's about it's about probabilities. It's not about your narrative, what you think is gonna, what you're happen, or your setup, the rules of your strategy have been met. But what most traders fail to understand is just because your rules of your strategy have been met, it doesn't mean that it's a high probability setup. Overall, your strategy may have, say, a 70% win rate. So 70% of the time, your strategy is positive. I get that. But the very next trade is only got a 7 in 10 chance of winning over a bigger sample size. So basically, each and every trade should be should be treated on its own merit. And what I mean by that is look at the chart contextually and refer back to the history and get the bigger picture. And then you can use that to your advantage and say, for example, let's assume for a moment that this bull candle here, maybe I'll get an arrow for this bull candle here, was a buy signal for your, a trader's strategy. Okay, they haven't seen the bigger picture, so they buy, and even with the stop way down here, they're likely to get stopped out. and they're left scratching their head. And they say, well, that's okay, but it's the rules of my strategy. Yeah, okay, but there's that many variations in the market. There's too many variables, basically, just to blindly say, well, if you want really, you want a good, strong equity curve, then basically being able to identify the difference between a weak, a low probability setup that's met your rules and a high probability setup that's met your rules are two different things. And that's a fine line between having an abysmal equity curve or one that looks pretty sexy.